Heading over to Happy Valley. Penn State plays Illinois. Now, this is a game where we both picked Illinois to cover, Penn State to win, and Illinois did cover. But it didn't look great, to be honest. I thought Penn State, for a team that ran for 239 yards, was 6 of 11 on third down, and sacked Luke Altmaier 7 times, to only win by 14, to me, is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you had a couple of missed opportunities. Both teams, right, had missed opportunities. After the first drive, the scripted, 11, 8 play drives for Illinois and Penn State respectively, I was like, oh, wow. And these quarterbacks came to play. And we're going to have a pretty, fun, exciting games to watch these coordinators go at each other. And then it went super stagnant for a long, long time. That sequence there at the end of the first half for Illinois was brutal. I mean, you get down to the Penn State 2, the first and goal there, and you end up kicking a 45-yard field goal and missing it.
Yeah, that was
That
brutal.
can't happen there on the road. Gave Penn State and that crowd the life that it needed, and they were able to go in and after halftime come out and get a touchdown. And it almost felt like that 7-point lead was bigger than it actually was because of how well Penn State's defense was playing, because of the crowd, because of Illinois going on the road. And we thought their offensive line would have a chance to block Penn State. And like you said, they struggled. And Altmaier is a good quarterback with a clean pocket and with play action pass. And, after that first drive, it just wasn't quite there. Franklin made some big time catches. He's a good player, very good football player. But for Penn State, too, this is why you're bringing Andy Kolnicki. And I kind of been stressing this all offseason. It's like, this was not to develop Drew Allar into a top 10 pick, right? Like, he's not a quarterback guru. He's an offensive guru. He gets guys in right spots, and you saw that with the running game here on a day where, yes, Allar was efficient, but it wasn't pushing the ball down the field like we wanted to see against a tough defense and a very good defensive mind there for Illinois. And Kay Allen and Singleton had about 100 yards each, right? Over 5 yards per carry. Like, that's what you needed. And that was so big in these big games on third down to be able to extend drives. And when he needed to in that second half, get punched the ball in the end zone and obviously extend your leads. That was awesome. And obviously for Penn State, they haven't looked the best, right? They have not looked the best at all, but you got to be a little bit encouraged kind of seeing what's going on here. Even in an ugly loss, you still have positives. And this is the kind of game where, maybe your previous offense coordinators, maybe your previous teams struggle and don't find ways to essentially put away Illinois and let them come back. And if they're driving with a 1-score game, it's a much, much different outcome than if they're pressing for obviously a 2-score game.
Yeah, and it was a pretty slow game too. Penn State was operating very slow as well, trying to just squeeze out. I mean, you also had 2 missed field goals. You had that turnover on downs.
Yep.
You only had 9 possessions for Penn State. So that's kind of what they're going to be. And honestly, it gives them a good chance against teams like Ohio State, where you just need to limit the number of possessions in a football game and see if you can just create some variance, create some big plays. And like you said, Kotelnicki is pretty nice at making explosive plays on the offensive side of the football. Yeah, I don't feel worse about. I mean, I was a little bit concerned with what I saw with Illinois, but again, it was a different level of talent that Illinois than they've played all season.
No.
So I'm not super concerned with either of these teams. I don't know. It was a bit of an ugly game for sure, but yeah, that's just what Penn State is. They're going to run the ball. And you know what? They're going to go back in the film room and be like, hey, we did a really good job running the football. We did a really good job getting after Luke Altmaier. We did a really good job making adjustments. And I don't think the Penn State coaching staff is pissed with the performance of the Nittany Lions at all. Now, I'm sure there's tons of stuff that they're going to be cleaning up on that offensive line and pass protection, but I I really don't think Penn State played a bad game despite only winning by 14 points. Or I
Can I
guess
say
not
this?
covering. I say only winning by 14 points, but not covering, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Can I say this too? Like, in terms of, like, again, going back to Kotelnicki, your run pass split here, 43 rushing attempts, 21 passing attempts. That was awesome. In a day where you're trying to find some kind of explosive plays, maybe, in previous times you have a Penn State quarterback pressing or an offensive pressing to try to make the ball, push the ball down the field, and you get into problems. Now you had the nice deep shot that turned into a pass interference. That was awesome to see. I love that shot play there. But again, sticking true to your identity, that's why I think you're absolutely right there. In that film room, they're gonna be like, we were who we are this week, right? We stayed true to our run game. We stayed true to our physicality defensively. The only thing that does concern me too is I like Franklin. I obviously Pat Bryant, very good as well. I don't know if Illinois had the personnel to take advantage of a potential, I don't want to say leaky secondary, but a spot where I think you could have some problems if you can block Penn State. And that's where you look at their schedule. You've got USC and Ohio State and whoever they would play if they do make a Big Ten or playoff spot. Those are going to be some elite football teams with very good, well constructed offenses. That's where you're going to have to take advantage. You could see a Penn State being taken advantage of. However, it didn't happen this week, right? It hasn't happened yet. Maybe Bowling Green, but but also they gave a lot of teams fits this year so far. So we'll see. A win is a win. Sometimes that's all it is in the Big Ten. I think especially this year too. It's just keep winning, keep on winning. You don't. Penn State's not going to need crazy style points. I don't think. Right? They gotta beat the teams they have to beat and hopefully steal one from an elite team.